It's time for Washington Shellfish Quest! This episode's target species, Pulalius vulgaris.
Hey Washington Shellfish Questers, Blake here. You know, the number one episode I think I get requested for shellfish is a crab episode. Now that's pretty confusing to me because I've already done a red rock crab episode, and what other types of crabs even live in Washington State? So I'm going to do some research and see if I can't get to the bottom of exactly what kind of crab everybody wants me to go catch. Alright, I think I figured it out. So I'm off to get the crab in question. So I think I know the crab you want to see. Old Pulalius vulgaris, ancestor to the purple shore crab, modern day purple shore crab. They used to be very common in western Washington. After the meteorite that made many of the dinosaurs extinct hit, there was a shallow sea, kind of like a swamp, from the west coast as we know it today of Washington to Centralia, Chehalis, and Olympia area. And these crabs were very common. When they would pass away, they would actually make what's called a concretion, some of them. I don't quite understand the chemistry behind it, but basically their decaying body in the silt and sediment made this kind of ball around them. Now these balls are kind of either, they're anywhere from golf ball size to softball size, and sometimes out here in the silt and the sandstone you can find them just by searching around the ground, in fact. So that's what we're going to do, see if we can't get out to a very common site on the way out to Brooklyn. I just passed through Oakville. This is on the south side, the southwest side of the Capitol Forest. The road to Brooklyn is literally, is literally paved in gravel, so I guess you could say it's unpaved. And then there's a really nice tavern out there that has a creek that actually runs through it. I'm not going to go that far, but that's a really, really cool kind of bucket list Washington thing to do, I think, if you've never been out about this way. So if you're headed out to Brooklyn, if you look to your right and you're headed west, I don't think I'm blowing up anybody's spot because this is a pretty common spot to get these concretions, you will see an exposed cliff face that's sand and siltstone, lots of rock falling down. Even without humans, I think that cliff face is kind of slowly eroding down. And you can search for concretions in there. It's getting more and more picked over, but let's see if we can't find a couple. Here it comes. That is it right there. Doesn't look like much if you don't know what you're looking for. Well, here we are, about almost 1,000 feet above sea level, just about to go crabbing. The tools I use to uncover concretions are as follows: pickaxe, chisels, rock hammer, regular hammer, sludge hammer, and my mitts. Also, sometimes I'm not the most safety conscious guy, not as I should be, but when it comes to dealing with breaking these rocks, you definitely want a pair of safety glasses. You'll absolutely get in the face with rock shards. I also do wear gloves, also just a decent pair of boots. It's good. So here is the embankment, the cliff face that I mentioned. Ooh, it has been picked over during the summer. So usually what you're looking for, like I said, oh, and this also reminds me, I forgot the most important piece of safety equipment at all, a good helmet. Because if any of those rocks falls and hits you, that might be the India. So today, I think even if I would have had a helmet, I still wouldn't have worked the actual cliff face, because I'd just be by myself. If I had a partner, maybe I would. But you can actually find the concretions. Not only do humans kind of break up the rocks and knock them down, but just erosion as well, because sand and siltstone does just kind of give out, especially after these big rain events. But at any rate, usually you would see, or last year anyway, you would have seen some of the concretions I'm talking about. And here's a real fine example. This was a boulder that my buddy Shingo and Kevin and I were working on last year. That's Shingo just about to knock one out. You can see that's a really big concretion. So scan the area for concretions and finding none. There's still neat stuff in the rocks. Here's a little piece of shell I'll work on. A lot of the time it's just like shell fragment and that sort of thing. Ooh, yeah, this is really silty stone here. Whoop, oh no, I dropped it. Oh, no, it's a little snail shell. Yeah, I see you there. Oh, I'll do a better image of this when I get home, but I'll clean it up a bit. But you can find all sorts of little things like that. It's really cool. You wouldn't believe these things are tens of millions years old if you didn't pick them yourself, because they look just like a modern day shell. Sometimes digging around the rocks can help. I don't want to create too much erosion, but just you know, actually putting your hand on them, looking for any kind of a spiricalness to them. This rock probably had a concretion in that hole at some point, so I will work it pretty good. There we go. Doesn't look like much of anything. Off camera right here, I just broke open a little, I don't know if you can see it, but right here, right there, I'll bring it home, put some light on it, is a mussel in the rock. Alright, so I'm starting to get a little worried if I'm going to find a concretion or not. I got about half an hour till dark. This is actually filmed on winter solstice. Below me, I just spotted, and it was just laying here just like this, I don't know if this is an old tube worm or something, or if it's just a piece of litter, or maybe something that's not a fossil at all. Might look very foolish by thinking it is, but it's kind of big. So my buddy Trevor, my good buddy Trevor, is who turned me on to this whole fossil hunting ordeal. So I will give him an ask and see if I can't get a positive idea on this for you. But it wasn't in a rock. It does seem like that's a rock in the middle, though. You know, so it's a good size, whatever it is. So here I am in the ditch. I'm just going to crack away at some of these rocks, see if anything falls out of them. Kind of my last ditch effort to see if I can't get a concretion. Nothing there. Hey, all right. Oh, here we go. Got one. Oh, see if I can get down there. All right. Let's see. There we go. Look at that. That is. Oh, I think my gut's in the water. I can feel it. At any rate, that's about as spherical of a concretion as I've seen. It's really kind of soft. It's very small too. I usually get much bigger ones. I'm going to save that for home, I think. I'm not going to try to break it open in the field. Might even phone my buddy Trevor just to see if he can either walk me through it or do it for me or give me help in some way just to make sure that I treat it right. Because I have personally not found one, even though it's very small, this spherical. Alright, so like I said, it's winter solstice, so not a lot of light left here. I am back in the truck. Not as good of a day as I would have hoped. I mean, wonderful day, but not as far as the actual getting concretions go. But we did get this guy. In between Shingo and I think we got about 4 or 5 that I can also try to open for you, just so we can get the target species here. And then, you know, got some stuff to work on here. Again, you probably can't see it, but there's a mussel in there. And then also picked up whatever this is. Maybe it's litter. Maybe it's a tube worm. Who knows? We'll find out. Alright, turns out it isn't a piece of litter. It is an animal. I sent Trevor a picture as soon as I got home, and he got right back to me. Apparently this is a scaphopod, also known as a tusk shell. Really interesting critter. So it's buried in the mud, and sort of like my finger is kind of the top of the mud, and it takes in water and excretes water, I guess, out of the top here. And then down here's where it eats. It has a little foot and like a bunch of little tendrils that come down and eat. So really interesting animal. This specific one is an extinct variety. It went extinct in the late Miocene. Hit me with the shellfish fact music. You got it, boss. So that was really cool. Thanks to Trevor, I got to learn about a current animal through an extinct member of the family. So that was really great. And then I also broke open those rocks I brought back that had little fossils in them. So we got a mussel, we got a couple of snail shells, and I really like this snail shell that I left a little bit of siltstone on. Alright, and the main event will be in the next episode. This is going to be a two-parter. So here's the concretions I mentioned from previous trips. This one's from Shingo, and as you can see there is actually a little claw sticking out. It's kind of broken, but there's definitely a crab in there. Versus here's the one I found. So it's very round and it's a little softer still, so I bet it's probably just a bunch of shell fragments in there. But we'll find out for sure next episode. Thank you so much and have a great year. You want to whack it pretty good. You don't want to chisel away at it. You want, if there's a fault in there, a fault line, you might smash it. But if it smashes, odds are there was nothing in there and it was just weak sediment. If there's any kind of like a fault line in there, like there is an actual crab shape, it should hopefully crack along the shape of the crab. So here, let's give it a try. Whoop. So that was just loose mud. I'm sure geologists, hobbyists are screaming at the screen right now with my lack of, knowledge.